And also in 1994 was my first New York marathon, and was a very good experience to me because at the time I could discover that I have a very small VO2 max, and the very small VO2 max allowed me to do the marathon in 2 hours and 52 minutes, and then I discovered that I have something very similar with the combat athletes. Both of us, the combat athletes and Lancia Junior, have a very small VO2 max. And this is the big problem that we have with the combat athletes, because they usually fight with the weights to fit inside of the category. And every time they have to lose weight, or they say cut weight, they have a very strong difficulty to do that. And this situation can modify year by year, every time they have to fit inside of category. Usually they exercise wearing vapor impermeable suits, especially in Brazil. If you do that, like in 40 degrees Celsius is around 100 degrees Fahrenheit, it's pretty tough. And they do that to lose a lot of weight, and they are able to do that. They also spit frequently. It's a little bit disgusting, but they are able to refill several buckets of saliva, and the same amount of saliva will represent the weights in kilograms that they expand, they cut. They also induce vomiting as another strategy. It's very bad, but they do that. And also they use diuretics, even if it's prohibited by WADA. They use that as a strategy to reduce very fast the weight to fit inside of the category. But if you do that, exercise, wearing the vapor impermeable suits, if you spit frequently, if you induce vomiting, if you use the diuretics, the consequence of those things is to reduce the amount of water inside of the body. If you reduce the amount of water, of course they will have a large amount of water, around 75% of our body weight is the water, but if you reduce the body water, you have some consequence. The first consequence is going to decrease the layer of your mucosa, and every time that you decrease the layer of your mucosa, you induce the permeability of this mucosa to several infections that you have inside the air. Also, you're going to dehydrate your skin. As well, we're going to reduce the activity of macrophage, because the macrophage need a lot of water to do their activity, to reduce the infections. You're going to reduce your capacity of hydrolysis of the macronutrients, especially the fat and carbohydrates. And the last consequence, but not the least, you're going to modify your cognition. We saw that on Tuesday during the GSSI presentation, and we have a very good paper that appeared in 2017 that demonstrated clearly that if you reduce the amount of water in your body, you're going to reduce your cognition. And if you're talking about the combat sports, reduce the cognition is something that is going to influence the result of those athletes, because they have to take decisions during the combat sports, and probably going to decrease the performance of those athletes. Despite of the risk of lose a lot of weight during those strategy, the American College of Sports Medicine frequently say that it's dangerous. They have to do something about that for several years, but nothing was done. But in 1997, before the Olympic Games of Barcelona, we have a very bad problem. 3 athletes passed away, probably because they have the hyperthermia, and probably as a consequence of hyperhydration. After that, several situations occurred and several attentions was done for this kind of process. What are the side effects that we have when those athletes have to cut weight, when they have to rapidly reduce the body weight? The first one is the acute cardiovascular dysfunctions, and we're going to reduce the amount of water in the body and going to reduce the amount of water in the blood. As well, we're going to increase the heartbeats and going to modify the control of the blood pressure. You have immune suppression, as I said, especially because you're going to decrease the activity of macrophage. The macrophage need a lot of water, especially to produce the actions against the invasions. We're going to increase the risk of injury, and the injury for those athletes very close to the competition can be fatal. They can be cut from the competition. You're going to impair the thermoregulation. It's very well known, everybody in this room knows that, but you're going to spend more time to equilibrate your temperature, you're going to sweat less, you're going to increase the inside body temperature, and all of those details are going to decrease your performance. You're going to impair your cognitive function. You have a very recent paper that shows that. It's very important because, as I said, those guys have to take decisions during competition. You're going to reduce the decisions that you take improperly. They can lose the competition as a consequence of those. You have a negative mood states. I'm afraid about the wife of those guys because the mood you change very, very fast as soon as you decrease the water in their body. You have a hormonal imbalance, and it's not an acute consequence, but chronically consequence of those hormone imbalance. You're going to have a temporary growth impairment, and then you have a very bad consequence. We're not talking of very young athletes and teenager athletes, because it comes to be a natural way to reduce the weight, and then comes to be a habit of those guys to reduce the body weight, dehydrating the body. You're going to have a poor nutrition status, especially for the young athletes, the teenagers. It's dangerous because you're going to decrease the growth capacity of those. You're going to lower your bone density, and as a consequence, chronically it can be a more sensitive situation to fractures. And you're going to increase the risk of developing eating disorders, because those guys come to do that frequently. As a consequence of those, every time that they're going to compete, they start to do a very easy way to cut weight. Well, if you take a look at this table, you will see the many situations that you have, like the modifications in the body weight. This paper you produced in 2012, and you saw that in Brazilian judo you can have males losing around 5.6 kilograms, that's close to 8.5% of the body weight. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, around 2.9. The Brazilian Karate, I saw that some people here is from Karate as well, 2.5 kilograms, around 3.6 of the body weight. The Brazilian Taekwondo, 3.2 kilograms or 4.3% of body weight. Iranian wrestling, 3.3 kilograms, around 5% of body weight. Brazilian Judo as well, 2 or 5% of body weight. And then you have the Brazilian Judo again, 4.5 kilograms, female 1.7. Brazilian Olympic boxing team, I saw there some people from boxing as well. It's around 4.3. US wrestling, 5 kilograms. US high school wrestling 2.3, and US high school wrestling 3.1. If you take note, the variation of those situations comes to be 2% and to 8.5% of body weight. Remember that 2% is probably the trigger to stimulate the drinking situation, and if you're thinking about 8.5% of body weight, is a lot of water, and you are losing water inside of the cell, you are decreasing the capacity to do the exercise. You are decreasing the capacity to break down the macromolecules. The situation is that we have several studies that say that it's a very bad situation, but if those athletes have the 3 or 4 hours between the time they get inside of the scale and measure the body weight until they get inside of the competition, it's time enough to recover the situation. This is bad because it comes to be a protocol to lose weight. It's so easy to recover, and then you have no consequence of those. What you can do to modify the situation? You can do several things, because those guys nowadays trying to use as well as supplements. Recently, a paper that was published this year, 2018, demonstrated the person that was conducting this one was Professor Ron Malcolm. He showed that all those supplements used to reduce the body weight is not enough to make those guys fit inside of the classification that we have for the combat competitions. What's the motivation that drives those guys? You have in the balance two motivations. You have the intrinsic motivation and you have the extrinsic motivation. All those factors you have every time in all those athletes. You have the intrinsic and extrinsic. It's not just one situation for one athlete and other for the others. You have both stimulus for all those athletes. When you're thinking about the intrinsic motivation, you have the enjoyable, like the athlete, they enjoy to participate in sports of combat. They try to keep the body weight in a regular situation. They try to be the better it can to compete. You have the challenge of this one, but the challenge can be as well to fit inside of the classification, then can stimulate the guy to cut the weight. You have the fun, the athlete have to be very happy to do that, and also to be excited to do this competition. All those motivations come from inside of them. But the same athlete, you have the extrinsic motivation. This motivation can be the money, the fame, the grades, and the praise. All of those are not bad, but they are stimulating those guys to reach a several situation that's not regular. It's something artificial to fit inside of the classification that's not possible for them, but make a kind of situation that's make it possible to win in this situation. What's our weight standard behavior? How everybody used to keep the body weight. It's not just the combat athletes. Usually you have a trigger, then you have a behavior, and then you have a rewards. This can to be a habit, can to be a protocol that repeats our stimulus. For everything we do the same. You have a trigger, behavior, and rewards. And if this reward is good enough for you, you keep your body weight in the situation. If this reward is not good enough for you, you will change the situation. But if you want to change the situation, you have to have a new behavior. And then you have to have a new rewards. This new reward should be stronger than the old one. This is things that can make those guys change the body weight forever or for a long time. If this new rewards is weaker than the old rewards, going to return. And every time that you have this one, this new behavior, these new rewards, you discover a new habit, a new protocol of your life or everything that you do. But this new protocol, it's very fragile. It's very easy to return to the old one. This is the reason why everybody tries to modify the body weight as the same as the athletes, and usually they return because the old rewards usually comes to be stronger than the new rewards. What you can do to make the situation more permanent, more consistent, you have to repeat these rewards until it comes to be automatic. If this situation occurs, naturally you have this person in a new habit, in a new protocol. Okay, if the situation happens, what are you going to do? What is going to happen with this athlete? If the intrinsic pathway comes to be stronger than the extrinsic pathway, you have ups and downs, as everybody has the ups and downs, but the result of those ups and downs comes to be a very pretty stable weight. But if the extrinsic factors is strong to keep this guy and fluctuate this one, then you have the tendency to increase the body weight, chronically going to increase the body weight. And as a consequence of those, you're going to decrease the short-term memory, you're going to decrease the vigor, you're going to decrease the concentration, and to decrease the vigor and decrease the concentration, if you're talking about combat athletes, is something very dangerous for those. Decrease the self-esteem, increase the confusion, and increase the confusion as well is something very bad for those. Increase the rage, increase the fatigue, increase depression, and increase the isolation. All those factors come to make these athletes separate from all the other in the group, because they try to get his body weight inside of the classification using the extrinsic motivations. If you are thinking about education, it is the proposal of this group to thinking about education to propose something different for the people interested in this group. You have to highlight some points. And the first point that I highlight is something that is drive to the coaches, for the people that work in the organization of those committees. Direct weight loss methods and artificial hydrate methods are prohibited in the day of the competition. It's something that can be the rules to establish for those athletes. The second note, no athletes are allowed to compete in a weight class that will require weight loss greater than 1.5 body weight per week. It's another very good strategy to educate those athletes and to educate as well the coaches. What you have to do as a behavior strategy switch. You can use two strategies, very well known. The first one is the 3F, is the normal, is more frequently strategies to modify the protocols, to modify the habits, is to use the effects, force, and fears, and usually is not very strong enough to have modifying this behavior for the life. And use the 3R strategies, is relation, restructure, repetition. This is very strong and modify the protocol, usually for a long period. These three strategy relation can modify the enjoyable situation, can stimulate the challenge, can make the competition again fun and also exciting. As a take-home message for our presentation, I will say, help the athletes to find an intrinsic factor that will drive his body weight control. Use the 3R strategy, relation, restructure, repeat, instead of the 3F, effects, fears, and force. Start this process as early as possible at the athlete life in order to have it as a mindset. If you have the young athletes in this protocol as a mindset, probably they will spend all the athlete life in a very good situation and not suffering for this body weight modification for the rest of the athlete life. And to finish, I would like to thank everybody that helped us, and the guys from my lab here, you can see down there, Giovanni is there, and everybody is there as well, and also Marcelo Marquez, that was my first PhD, now he's come back to the lab to do the postdoc. Gary Sforzo is a very good friend and worked with us in this protocol of keep the body weight. He's from University of Ithaca, New York. François Blachier, he's a professor of Institut National de Research Agronomique, INRA, or in France it is Institut National de la Recherche Agronomique in Paris. And Nathalie Gossot, she's a professor in Clermont-Ferrand, in University Paris Dascal. Athanasa Sotiropoulos, that you are now working with the muscle fusion. She is a professor at the Cochin Hospital in Paris, as well as at Sorbonne University. Luciana Lancha, that's my wife, she's there, and she's now working with this process to control the body weight of everybody. And also, she's a good partner in my life. She makes my life easy and happy. Thanks so much, my love. And everybody that wanna contact me, please feel free. I put there my Instagram, my Facebook, my email, and everything. Thanks so much.